Captain Elias Kane sat in the pilot's chair of the starship Endeavour, staring out at the shimmering blue planet of Lithera below. It was his first mission to an alien world, and the nervous energy in his chest was a mix of excitement and caution. The humans had maintained contact with Lithera for decades, but the Virelians were proud and secretive. Diplomatic missions were delicate, and any mistake could spark conflict. "Status report," Elias said, his voice steady even though his hands tightened around the console. Lieutenant Mara, his communications officer, glanced at the screens. "Orbit stable. The Virelian Council has agreed to meet. Docking procedures cleared. We have 5 minutes to prepare." Elias nodded. He had spent weeks studying the Virelian culture. They valued honor, loyalty, and strength, and any show of weakness could be seen as disrespect. Still, nothing in the books could have prepared him for meeting a princess. The docking clamps hissed and locked, and the human crew moved carefully through the airlock. The Virelian's palace was vast, made of crystal-like structures that reflected light in brilliant colors. Tall alien guards with elongated limbs and shimmering armor flanked the corridors. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something sweet. Elias felt a shiver of awe and unease. Finally, they reached the council chamber. The Virelian Council sat in a semicircle, their eyes observing every movement. At the center, on a raised platform, stood Princess Lyra. Her skin was pale with a soft, iridescent glow, and her eyes, large and violet, held a wisdom far beyond her years. Her posture was straight and commanding, and yet there was a flicker of curiosity as she studied Elias. "Captain Kane." Lyra's voice was melodic, but sharp. "You come from a world far away. Tell me why humans should be trusted with our secrets, with our people." Elias bowed slightly. "Princess Lyra, I come not only as a representative of my people, but as someone who respects yours. Humans and Virelians have much to learn from each other. I hope to earn your trust." Lyra's gaze did not waver. "Trust is earned in action, not words." Before Elias could respond, an alarm blared through the chamber. The lights flickered, and the floor shook violently. From the shadows, figures moved. Rogue mercenaries, armed and dangerous, had infiltrated the palace. "Protect the princess," a Virelian guard shouted. Chaos erupted. Humans and Virelians scrambled to respond, but the attackers moved with speed and precision. They were clearly trained and had one goal: kill the princess. Elias didn't hesitate. He saw a glowing energy weapon aimed directly at Lyra. In a single motion, he pushed her to the ground and threw himself in front of the blast. The force slammed him backward, knocking the wind out of him. But the weapon discharged harmlessly above him. Lyra gasped and scrambled to her feet. "You saved me," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with shock and awe. Elias struggled to rise. "It's my duty," he said, trying to mask the pain in his voice. His uniform was scorched, and small cuts marked his arms and face, but he was alive. The mercenaries were quickly subdued by palace guards, but the tension lingered. Lyra stepped closer to Elias, studying him with intense eyes. "I will not forget this," she said softly. "You risked your life for me. That is no small thing." Elias straightened, brushing himself off. "I didn't do it for recognition, Princess. I did it because it was right." The council members exchanged wary glances. They had heard of human bravery, but witnessing it firsthand was different. There was a strength in human mercy, in risking oneself not for power, but for another's life. One of the Virelian elders spoke. "Captain Kane has shown courage and honor. These are qualities we have long admired from distant humans, but rarely witnessed so clearly. Perhaps we have underestimated your species." Lyra turned back to Elias. "You will remain in the palace until we understand this attack and its meaning. I will not allow you to leave while danger still lingers." Elias raised an eyebrow. "You mean, as a guest?" "No," Lyra said firmly. "As someone I trust. You have saved my life. That creates a bond, a responsibility I cannot ignore." Elias felt a strange warmth in her words. It was unusual for an alien to express such personal trust so openly. He nodded. Very well, Princess. I will stay for your safety and the safety of your people. The following hours were tense. Guards patrolled the palace halls more rigorously than ever, and the council began questioning every ally and servant. Elias found himself immersed in alien technology and customs, learning quickly how the palace operated. Lyra walked beside him, explaining the functions of strange devices and systems. Despite the danger, there was a spark of connection between them, a shared understanding of courage, loyalty, and duty. At one point, Lyra paused in a courtyard filled with luminous plants. Most humans would have hesitated, she said quietly. But you acted without thought for yourself. That is rare. Elias smiled faintly. Sometimes, you just have to do what's right, even if it's dangerous. I couldn't stand by and watch someone die when I could help. Lyra's violet eyes softened, and for a moment, the weight of her title and her people's expectations seemed to fade. I have seen many warriors and diplomats, she said. But you are different. I do not know if I can ever repay this. You don't have to, Elias replied. But I will do what I can to help. That is all anyone can ask. Night fell over the palace, and the stars outside shone brightly in Lythera's twin moons. Elias looked out from the balcony and realized that this planet, once just a mission, had become something more. His mercy had saved a life. But in doing so, he had stepped into a world of intrigue, danger, and unexpected bonds. Lyra stood beside him silently, her presence a quiet reminder of the bond formed in the fire of that attack. She would not let him go easily, and Elias, though unaware of what the future held, knew that he would face whatever came next with courage and honor, because sometimes, the human heart was the strongest force in the galaxy. The night was calm, but Elias could feel the tension lingering. The mercenaries' attack was only the beginning, and the palace and its princess would need him more than ever. One thing was certain: this mission would change both their lives forever. The day after the attack, the palace was filled with tension. Guards moved through the corridors more quickly than ever, and palace attendants whispered nervously. Captain Elias Kane walked beside Princess Lyra through the crystal halls, feeling the weight of the trust she had placed in him. Every glance from her reminded him that this was no ordinary diplomatic mission. He was not just a visitor, he was now part of her life. Captain Kane, Lyra said, breaking the silence. The council has decided you cannot leave the palace until the threat is fully understood. I know this may be inconvenient, but I will not take chances with my safety or the safety of my people. Elias nodded. I understand, Princess. I will stay. It is an honor to serve in whatever way I can. Lyra glanced at him, her violet eyes softening. This is more than service. You saved my life. That creates a debt I cannot ignore. Elias smiled faintly. I did not save you for repayment, but I will not refuse to help when you ask. It is the right thing to do. For the rest of the morning, Elias was introduced to the inner workings of the palace. Virelian technology fascinated him. Devices hummed with energy, and walls displayed information in glowing symbols that shifted and changed. Lyra explained each function carefully, sometimes pausing to make sure Elias understood. Despite the complexity, he noticed a pattern of logic behind it all. Humans and Virelians might be different in appearance, but the principles of problem-solving were universal. You adapt quickly, Lyra remarked, watching him examine a holographic map of the palace grounds. Most humans would be overwhelmed by this technology. Elias shrugged. I have had experience with strange systems before, and I am a fast learner. When lives are at stake, Lyra nodded approvingly. There was a spark of admiration in her gaze, but also a seriousness that reminded Elias why she was heir to the throne. She was no ordinary princess. She was a leader, trained to think beyond herself. And yet, she could still recognize courage in others. Their routine was interrupted when a young palace messenger rushed in, bowing quickly. Princess Lyra. Reports of unusual activity near the outer perimeter. Sensors detected unknown ships approaching. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Mercenaries? Or someone else? Prepare a security team. Captain Kane, I need your advice. Elias examined the data. The ships moved swiftly, using cloaking technology to avoid detection. These are professional attackers, he said. They are not random. Whoever sent them has resources and planning. We should set up perimeter defenses immediately and consider a covert response team. Lyra considered his words. Very well. You will join me in assessing the situation. I trust your judgment. Together, they moved to the palace observation deck. From the tall windows, the surface of Lythera stretched below them, dotted with luminous forests and rivers that glowed softly under the twin moons. The approaching ships appeared as dark blots against the atmosphere, fast and precise. Elias leaned over the console. If they want to cause harm, they will target weak points first. But we can anticipate their moves. I recommend splitting the defenders into patrol units and setting traps along likely paths. We need to make them think the palace is vulnerable, while actually securing all exits. Lyra's expression softened into a rare smile. You think like a warrior and a protector, Elias. That is why I asked you to stay. Your human perspective adds strength to our defenses. As the hours passed, they worked side by side, planning strategies and reinforcing the palace's perimeter. The Virelian guards were skilled, but Elias's human ingenuity allowed them to combine strategy with technology in new ways. He suggested creating temporary decoys that would draw the attackers into safe zones while sensors monitored every movement. Lyra approved each suggestion, and together, they moved swiftly, blending Virelian precision with human creativity. By evening, the threat was neutralized, the unknown ships detected their defenses, and retreated without causing harm. The council was impressed. Many whispered about how a human's quick thinking had prevented what could have been another attack. Later, Lyra and Elias walked through the palace gardens. The glowing plants lit their path, casting soft, dancing shadows across their faces. Lyra stopped near a pool of shimmering water, staring at the reflection of the twin moons. You have done more than I expected, she said quietly. You have earned my trust and the trust of my people. It is rare for an outsider to gain such respect. Elias looked at her, feeling the bond between them grow stronger. I only do what I can. I am not here to take your place or to claim credit. I am here because it is the right thing to do. Lyra's voice was soft but firm. That is why I cannot let you go. A bond has formed between us. Elias. Not because of duty alone, but because of the choices we make in moments of danger. You saved me, and that has changed everything. Elias took a deep breath. He had been trained to face danger, to make decisions in the heat of battle. But this was different. It was not about strategy or survival alone. It was about connection, trust, and understanding across worlds. The following days were filled with training and preparation. Elias learned more about Virelian history, their customs, and their technology. He observed Lyra as she moved through her duties, commanding her people, making difficult decisions, and yet showing kindness and wisdom. In return, he shared human ideas about teamwork, problem-solving, and creative solutions to complex problems. One afternoon, Lyra led him to a simulation room. I want you to see how we train our soldiers, she explained. The room transformed into a holographic battlefield, complete with obstacles, moving enemies, and unpredictable conditions. Elias smiled. This is impressive, but I think humans have something to offer here. He guided Lyra through strategies that combined human improvisation with Virelian precision. Together, they navigated the simulation flawlessly. Lyra laughed in delight, a sound both melodic and freeing. I had not expected humans to be so adaptable, and I had not expected a princess to be such a keen learner, Elias replied. As the sun set over Lythera, painting the sky in shades of violet and gold, Lyra turned to him. Elias, you have shown me courage, wisdom, and patience. You have earned a place here not just in my palace, but in my life. I do not know what the future holds, but I know this. I cannot allow you to leave. Under things, Elias felt the weight of her words. He had come to Lythera as a diplomat, a visitor from another world, but now he realized that he was part of something larger, a bond that went beyond species, beyond politics, beyond duty. I will stay, he said quietly. Not because I am forced, but because I choose to. If my presence can help you and your people, then it is the right thing to do. Lyra smiled, her violet eyes reflecting the twin moons above. For the first time, she felt hope not just for herself, but for the future of her people and the possibility of unity between two worlds. And so, Elias Kane became more than a visitor. He became a trusted ally, a protector, and someone who had proven that humanity's courage and mercy could shine brightly, even on a distant alien world. The night was calm, but Elias knew the peace would not last forever. Danger still lurked beyond the horizon, and the bond he shared with Lyra would be tested in ways he could not yet imagine. But for now, he remained in the palace, ready to face whatever came next with courage, ingenuity, and the unshakable belief that humans could rise to meet any challenge even among the stars. The morning sun cast long violet rays across the palace gardens as Captain Elias Kane and Princess Lyra prepared for their mission. Today, they would leave the safety of the palace walls and track the rogue mercenaries who had attacked Lythera. The council had approved their plan. Elias's strategy combined human ingenuity with Virelian technology. Lyra moved with quiet determination. We must find the mercenaries before they strike again, she said, her voice steady. Every moment counts. Our people rely on us. Elias nodded. Agreed. We'll follow the sensors, anticipate their movements, and cut off their escape routes. Stay close, and trust my guidance. The palace shuttle descended through the glowing atmosphere of Lythera, past forests that shimmered with bioluminescent life, and rivers that reflected the twin moons, even in daylight. Elias marveled at the beauty of the world so alien, yet alive in ways humans could understand. He felt a strange sense of responsibility. He had saved Lyra once, but now he would help her protect her planet. Sensors indicate movement near the northern cliffs, Elias said, tapping the console. That is likely their base of operations. We'll approach cautiously. The shuttle landed softly on a rocky plateau. Lyra and Elias stepped out, their boots crunching against the glittering stones. Strange alien plants grew among the cliffs, their tendrils swaying as if sensing the presence of intruders. Elias scanned the area with his portable analyzer, noting weak points and potential hiding places. They are clever, he muttered. They chose a location difficult to reach, with natural defenses. But no fortress is perfect. Lyra smiled faintly. I have faced worse. And now, I have you at my side. Their journey through the cliffs was treacherous. Narrow ledges, sudden drops, and alien predators tested their resolve. Elias relied on human adaptability to solve problems on the spot, creating temporary bridges from fallen rocks and using climbing tools in ways the Virelian guards had not considered. Lyra matched him step for step, showing unexpected courage and skill, proving that she was not only a royal figure, but also a capable leader. At one point, they came across a deep chasm blocking their path. On the other side, faint lights suggested the mercenaries' presence. Elias examined the chasm and found a natural rope of tough vines. We can cross, but carefully, he said. The vines may hold our weight, but one misstep could be dangerous. Lyra studied the chasm and nodded. Lead the way, Elias. Step by step, they crossed, trusting each other completely. It was in these moments of shared danger that their bond strengthened. Elias admired Lyra's determination, and Lyra admired Elias's calmness under pressure. They were learning to trust each other instinctively, a connection that went beyond words. Finally, they reached the mercenaries' camp. Hidden behind rocky outcrops, the camp had crude shelters and energy shields. Elias and Lyra crouched behind a boulder, observing quietly. "They are fewer than I expected," Elias whispered. "But they are heavily armed and alert. A frontal attack would be foolish." "We need a plan," Lyra nodded. "We cannot risk open combat near the cliffs. What do you suggest?" Elias tapped his chin, thinking quickly. "We create a diversion. I'll lure them to one side using a decoy device, while you and I approach from another path. We can disable their energy shields and capture them before they escape." Lyra studied him for a moment, then smiled. "Your human thinking is impressive. Let us do it your way." Elias set the decoy device among some rocks, its lights blinking as if it were a valuable target. As expected, several mercenaries rushed toward it, leaving the camp less defended. Elias and Lyra moved swiftly, their movements silent and precise. Using their combined skills, they disabled the energy shields and captured the remaining mercenaries before anyone could sound an alarm. The mercenaries were bound and confused, clearly underestimating the humans and their allies. Elias stepped forward. "You attacked Lythra and the princess. You will answer for your actions. But violence is not always the answer. You have a chance to surrender peacefully." Lyra watched, her eyes thoughtful. "Mercy is a strength, Elias. Even against those who would harm us, we must choose the right path." The leader of the mercenaries, a tall figure with scarred armor, scowled but raised his hands in surrender. Elias nodded to Lyra, who gave a slight bow of approval. The situation had been resolved without unnecessary bloodshed, thanks to human ingenuity, Varelian precision, and mutual trust. As they returned to the palace with the prisoners, Elias and Lyra shared a moment of quiet reflection. "You think too much like a warrior," Lyra teased gently. "But I see why humans are admired across the galaxy. Your mind finds solutions even in impossible situations." Elias smiled. "And you, princess, are braver than many warriors I have known. Your courage inspires others, myself included." Lyra's expression softened. "We make a good team, Elias. Perhaps. The bond formed in battle is stronger than words alone can express." Elias nodded, understanding the weight of her words. Their partnership had grown beyond duty or necessity. It was built on mutual respect, courage, and shared moments of danger. Back at the palace, the council was waiting. They had heard of the success and were astonished at how efficiently Elias and Lyra had handled the threat. Varelians who had doubted humans began to see the value of human creativity and courage, and whispers of admiration spread quietly among the council chambers. Lyra turned to Elias after the meeting. "You have changed their minds, Elias. You have shown that humans can be more than diplomats or soldiers, they can be trusted allies." Elias felt a rare sense of satisfaction. "I only did what I had to do. But it is rewarding to see that our efforts are recognized." As night fell, Elias and Lyra stood once again on the palace balcony. The twin moons reflected in Lythera's rivers, casting a serene glow over the land. The danger had passed, for now. But Elias knew that more challenges awaited. Rogue factions, political intrigue, and the unknown forces of the galaxy would continue to test them. Lyra placed a hand lightly on Elias's arm. "I do not know what the future holds," she said. "But I do know that I cannot let you leave. You have become indispensable." Elias looked at her, feeling the gravity of her words. He had come to Lythera as a visitor, a stranger from another world, but now he was part of something greater, a partnership. A bond forged in trust, danger, and mutual respect. "I will stay," he said quietly. "Not because I am forced, but because I choose to. If my presence helps you and your people, then it is the right choice." Lyra smiled, her violet eyes reflecting both relief and admiration. "Then let us face the future together, Elias. Whatever challenges come, we will meet them as allies and as friends." The night was calm, but Elias knew that calm could not last forever. The galaxy was vast, and danger was never far away. But for now, he had proven that human courage, ingenuity, and mercy could make a difference even on a distant alien world. Together, they looked at the horizon, ready to face whatever lay ahead. their bond stronger than ever, and their determination unshakable. The palace of Lythra had never felt so tense. Though the rogue mercenaries had been captured, the threat was far from over. Reports had arrived from scouts that a rival Virelian faction, ambitious and ruthless, was planning an attack on the palace itself. Their goal was not just to seize power, but to destabilize Lythra entirely. Princess Lyra paced the council chamber, her expression sharp and unyielding. "They think they can take the throne by force," she said. "But they will find that I will not be defeated, and I will not let them hurt my people." Elias Kane stood beside her, studying the data streaming across the holographic display. "The faction is well equipped and trained. They are using subterfuge as much as brute force. This is different from the mercenaries we are facing, insiders who know the palace's defenses and routines." Lyra's violet eyes met his. "Then we must be cleverer than they expect. We cannot fight them in open combat, it would risk too many lives. We need a plan." Elias nodded. "We need a combination of strategy and diversion. We will use their knowledge against them. They expect fear and hesitation, but we will show them precision and courage." The palace guards were prepared, but the tension was palpable. Every corridor, every gate, every chamber was under constant surveillance. Elias and Lyra worked together, reviewing plans and predicting the faction's moves. Their teamwork was seamless. Lyra provided insight into the Virelian systems, while Elias suggested creative human tactics to counteract them. As night fell, the faction struck. Shadowy figures moved silently through hidden passages, cutting communication lines and attacking patrols. Chaos erupted in the palace. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and distant explosions echoed through the halls. Lyra drew her energy blade, moving swiftly to defend her people. "Elias, stay close. They are targeting the upper council chambers." Elias followed, scanning the area for threats. "We can outmaneuver them. Trust our instincts and the paths we know. Focus on protecting the civilians and the council." They moved through the corridors like shadows, their presence both commanding and precise. Lyra's knowledge of the palace gave them an advantage, but the faction's members were ruthless and skilled. They ambushed from unexpected angles, forcing Elias and Lyra to adapt constantly. At one critical moment, a group of faction soldiers cornered them near a stairwell leading to the council chambers. Elias acted instantly, using a portable device to create a temporary energy barrier that blocked the attackers' advance. Lyra struck with her blade, disabling 2 of the assailants, while Elias neutralized the others with non-lethal shock tools. Breathing heavily, Lyra turned to him. "We cannot let them capture anyone alive. They will use hostages to manipulate the palace." Elias shook his head. "No, we must protect lives, even theirs. Mercy is a strength, Lyra. We cannot lose ourselves to vengeance." Lyra hesitated, but saw the determination in his eyes. She nodded, trusting his judgment. Together, they devised a plan to lure the faction into a controlled chamber, using themselves as bait. As predicted, the faction fell for the trap, rushing into the room in a coordinated assault. Elias and Lyra activated the chamber's containment fields, trapping them without serious injury. Guards quickly secured the intruders, and the threat was neutralized. Exhausted, Lyra sank into a chair. "I underestimated them," she admitted, her voice soft. "But I should never have doubted your guidance, Elias. You were right. Our courage and mercy were stronger than their ruthlessness." Elias knelt beside her. "You showed courage, Lyra. I only helped direct it. Together, we can face challenges no one else could." The council arrived to assess the situation, and murmurs of admiration spread quickly. The faction's attack had failed not only because of Virelian strength, but because human ingenuity and bravery had made the difference. Whispers began circulating among the council members, praising the alliance between Elias and the princess. Later, Lyra walked through the palace gardens with Elias. The night was calm, but the events of the evening weighed heavily on her. "I have always known my people could face danger," she said. but I did not expect to see loyalty and courage from someone outside our world. You have changed my understanding of humans. Elias smiled faintly. I only do what I can. Courage is universal. Mercy is universal. You have inspired me as well. Princess. Lyra paused, looking at him intently. Elias, after tonight, I cannot imagine letting you leave. You are not just a protector or advisor. You are part of this world now, and part of my life. Elias felt a strange warmth at her words. He had come to Lythera as a visitor, a diplomat, a stranger from another world. But now he realized he was more than that. He was an ally, a companion, and someone Lyra trusted implicitly. The next morning, the council met to review the events. Elias presented a detailed report of the factions' movements, their strategies, and the potential risks of future attacks. Lyra stood beside him, emphasizing the importance of collaboration between humans and Virelians. Captain Kane's guidance was invaluable, Lyra declared. His knowledge, his calmness under pressure, and his courage saved many lives. We must recognize that humans can be trusted allies, not just observers from afar. The council members murmured in agreement. While some were still cautious, most acknowledged that Elias's presence had changed the course of the conflict. He had proven that humans could offer unique solutions, and that courage and mercy were more powerful than brute force. Later, in a quiet moment, Lyra approached Elias. You have shown me what it means to trust and to act with integrity, she said. I am grateful, not just for saving my life, but for showing me the value of your world. You have become indispensable. Elias looked at her, realizing how much he had grown attached to Lythera and to her. I will stay, he said firmly. Not out of obligation, but because I choose to. Together, we can protect this planet and each other. Lyra's eyes softened, and she smiled. Then we will face whatever comes next together. I have no doubt that humans and Virelians can achieve great things when united. The betrayal by the rival faction had tested them both, but it had also strengthened their bond. Elias and Lyra had faced danger, deception, and treachery. And they had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever. As night fell once again over Lythera, the twin moons, reflecting on the glowing rivers, Elias and Lyra stood together on the palace balcony. The air was calm, but they both knew that the galaxy held more challenges ahead. They were ready, not just because of their skill or knowledge, but because they had found something rare and powerful. Trust, courage, and friendship that transcended worlds. The palace, once a symbol of isolation and tradition, now felt alive with possibility. Together, Elias and Lyra were more than protector and princess. They were a team, ready to face the unknown, proving that human ingenuity, mercy, and courage could shine even in the darkest moments. And though the night was quiet, both of them knew that new dangers, new challenges, and new opportunities would come. But for now, they had survived the betrayal, and their bond had grown stronger than ever. The morning sun bathed the palace of Lythera in a warm violet glow. After the recent attacks and betrayals, the palace felt alive with cautious optimism. Guards patrolled with confidence, citizens moved through the streets with renewed faith, and the council began discussing reforms to strengthen the planet's defenses. Captain Elias Kane walked beside Princess Lyra through the palace gardens. The events of the past days weighed heavily on both of them. The rogue mercenaries and the rival faction had tested their courage, strategy, and trust. But through it all, they had emerged stronger, united, and ready to face whatever came next. Lyra turned to Elias, her violet eyes thoughtful. Elias, you have done more than I could have imagined. You have saved lives, guided us through danger, and proven that humans have qualities that even the Virelians can admire. But I know you must decide what to do next. You came here as a visitor. Will you remain with us, or return to your people? Elias paused, considering her words. He had always believed in duty, in doing what was right, and in protecting life. But this decision was different. Staying on Lythera meant leaving behind the familiar world of humans, the friends and colleagues he had trained with, and the life he had always known. Returning to human space would mean leaving Lyra, her people, and the bond they had formed. He looked out over the glowing rivers, the forests shimmering under the twin moons, and felt the weight of his choice. Lyra, this is not easy for me. I came here to serve as a diplomat, to help my people build bridges. But what I have found here, what we have accomplished together, has changed me. I have seen courage, honor, and hope in ways I never expected. Lyra reached for his hand. You do not have to decide alone, Elias. You have shown us the strength of your heart. Whatever you choose, it will be the right choice for you. Elias took a deep breath. I choose to stay, not out of obligation, but because I want to. I want to help you, your people, and this planet. I want to continue what we started together. Lyra's face lit with a smile, a mixture of relief and happiness. Then you will stay, Captain Kane. Together, we will face the future and ensure Lythera thrives. The council was summoned to hear the decision. Elias stood beside Lyra as she addressed the members. Captain Elias Kane has chosen to remain on Lythera. His bravery, wisdom, and ingenuity have proven invaluable. His presence will strengthen our people and help guide us toward a brighter future. Council members nodded in agreement. Some were still cautious, but most recognized the wisdom in Lyra's words. Elias had earned their respect, not only as a human, but as a leader and a protector. In the following weeks, Elias immersed himself in palace life. He studied Varelian technology, helped improve security systems, and trained alongside the palace guards. His human perspective allowed him to see solutions where others could not, combining creativity with strategy in ways that strengthened the defenses of Lythera. Lyra worked tirelessly as well, guiding her people and implementing reforms inspired by both Varelian tradition and human ingenuity. Together, they planned new patrol systems, better communication networks, and ways to detect threats before they became dangerous. Their teamwork inspired others, and whispers of admiration spread throughout the palace. One evening, as the twin moons reflected in the shimmering rivers, Elias and Lyra walked along the palace balcony. The air was cool, and the lights of the city below sparkled like stars. You have changed this world, Elias, Lyra said softly, but more importantly, you have changed me. You have shown me that trust, courage, and mercy are the greatest strengths anyone can have, human or Virelian. Elias smiled. And you have shown me the same, Lyra. You are wise, brave, and compassionate. You carry the weight of your people with dignity, and you inspire everyone around you. I am honored to stand beside you. They paused, watching the peaceful landscape. For the first time in weeks, there was no immediate danger, no threat lurking in the shadows, just calm and a shared understanding that their bond was more than duty. It was respect, trust, and a deep connection formed through courage and shared trials. Suddenly, a message arrived from the distant human coalition. Elias received it in private. Reading the report of new missions and diplomatic negotiations awaiting him, he felt a pang of longing for his old life. But he also felt certainty. He had made the right choice. His place was here, with Lyra and her people, helping to shape a future built on cooperation, bravery, and hope. Returning to Lyra, he said quietly, "My people have sent messages. They will continue their work without me. My place is here, not out there. I am ready for the future we will face together." Lyra's violet eyes glowed in the moonlight. "Then we will face it as partners, Elias. Not just as human and Varelian, but as allies, friends, and equals. Together, we will show that courage, ingenuity, and mercy can change the galaxy." The palace buzzed with quiet activity as the humans and Virelians began working side by side. Plans for future exploration, defense, and diplomacy were set in motion. For the first time, many realized that the union of human creativity and Varelian wisdom could achieve incredible things. In the months that followed, Elias continued to prove his worth not only as a strategist and advisor, but as a symbol of unity. He taught the Virelians human problem-solving techniques, helped train soldiers to think creatively in battle simulations, and even assisted in designing new systems to protect the planet. Lyra watched him with pride and admiration. "You have brought hope where there was fear," she told him one evening. "You have shown my people that even those from distant worlds can be allies, and that courage and mercy are greater than fear and violence." Elias smiled, feeling the satisfaction of purpose. "We did this together, Princess. Your courage and wisdom inspired me as much as I hope mine inspired you." The bond between them was undeniable, built on trust, shared danger, and mutual respect. And though challenges would continue to arise, they now faced the future with confidence, knowing that humans and Virelians, united, could overcome any obstacle. As the night deepened, Elias and Lyra stood once more on the balcony, looking out over the glowing landscape of Lithera. The twin moons reflected in the rivers below, and the palace lights shimmered like stars. There was peace, for now, but more importantly, there was hope. Lyra took Elias's hand, and he squeezed it gently. "Whatever comes next, we will meet it together," she said. "Yes," Elias replied. "Together, we will protect this world and show that humanity's courage and mercy can shine even in the farthest reaches of the galaxy." And so, Elias Kane stayed on Lithera, not just as a visitor, but as a protector, advisor, and friend. The galaxy beyond remained vast and unpredictable. But here, on this distant planet, a human had proven that courage, ingenuity, and mercy could bridge worlds, save lives, and inspire a future filled with hope. The stars above twinkled silently, reflecting the light of two moons and the promise of a brighter tomorrow. Elias and Lyra stood together, ready to face whatever the universe might send, their bond unbroken, and their spirits unshakable. Humanity had made its mark, not through force, but through courage, wisdom, and the unyielding heart of a man who chose to do what was right,